All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by our beer of choice, Johnny Cuba, European roots, a Caribbean soul. Start your evening, maybe your afternoon. Maybe you want to get after it earlier. I don't know what you're up to. A refreshing German lager in a can. You can pick up a six-pack at your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Remember, always drink responsibly. And, of course, Johnny Cuba's mantra, I live my life by it. Stay tranquilo. Joining us here is our pal, La Voz, Jose Paneda, the radio voice, the Spanish radio voice of your Miami Heat for, I guess, are we 35 years now, Jose? Is that how many we're on?
34, actually. 35 with the team, but I started doing the broadcast the second year, so long enough. So it's been an incredible ride, as you know, John.
Amazing. Good to see you. Good to talk to you here. We're do the players come back today? When do they come back? Today, tomorrow? When do they come back?
They have a scheduled practice on Thursday, tomorrow.
Okay,
so
tomorrow.
That's when they officially have to be back. So I'm assuming some are already back. I know there's a couple that are already there, as we know, that we've seen. But tomorrow is the official practice day before taking off to Milwaukee in the 3-game road trip coming up before coming back for 6 games at home on the road. I should say at home, and that'll be important.
I thought last weekend with the signing of Love and Cody Zeller, I thought the Heat had a very good weekend. I thought, the Heat fan is, waiting the trade deadline. They don't do anything. They're very upset. It's as if the Heat fan sometimes thinks it doesn't need to be 2 teams to agree to a trade. Only Pat Riley has to agree to do a trade. You can do whatever you want. It's very difficult to make trades. The Heat fan was upset. They were one of just a few teams that didn't do anything. I thought this weekend the Heat addressed needs, and all of a sudden for a small team, Jose, they got pretty big overnight.
Yeah, well, they did do something, okay? A couple days before the trade deadline, as we know. The Deadman situation was finalized, and that opened up a couple of spaces that eventually turned up to be Love and Zeller as well. And it addressed, I think, a couple of heavy needs that Miami needed in certain positions. You have also veteran leadership as well, and height, as you said. And again, it fits certain situations that the Heat has needed. Including 3-point shooting a little bit with Love as well, height with Love, and that 4 spot. But he can also play the center for you, and Cody Zeller will come in and I think will take over for minutes when Bam is on the bench. Notice the games. Bam's playing 35 minutes a game, which is it's career high. So what happens to those 13 other minutes? And as we've seen lately, it's been Orlando Robinson, but with Cody Zeller now you have another option, more veteran, more seasoned, and I think it's going to be interesting. So now a fight to the finish. Zaz, you got 23 games left, including 12 at home and 11 on the road, and it's going to be a fight. And now half a game out from the Knicks, you're 2.5 out from the Nets, and 5 from Cleveland. And I think it's really, really important. I think that's going to have to be the goal in at least 23 games, is to finish, 4, 5, or 6. I think that you have to finish in that range there. That's realistic as well. But I think it's really important, and not finish either in the playing round or finish, where you're going to have to face one of the top teams like Milwaukee and Boston.
Let's talk a little bit about Love here. I thought right when there was talk that he was going to be buyout, I thought the Heat were a perfect fit. I felt the Heat were going to sign him. They went out there and they got him. I think it affords him the opportunity for 2 things, because people may be saying, wow, Kevin Love, why'd you go from Cleveland, who's the number 4, to Miami, who's the number 7? That's very strange. The point is, number 1, he's going to want to sign with a team that's got a chance to be in the playoffs and do something. That's the Heat. But also, he wants to go somewhere where he can likely sign probably his final multi-year deal in free agency. Now, when I say multi-year deal, I don't mean like a 3-4 year deal. It's a lot of money, but maybe like a 2-year deal for, I don't know how much money, but it'll be like the last multi-year deal of his career. He can't do that sitting on the Cleveland bench out of the rotation. He's got to find a place where he's going to be able to play. And I think he's going to have a significant role with this Heat team, Jose.
Well, as you know, Miami has a lot to offer, and I've always loved, pardon the pun, Kevin Love. He's been a pro's pro. How many years he led the league in double-doubles. I mean, it was just automatic. He's averaged a double-double in his career. Obviously, this year he's been playing a lot less, and it's career lows in a lot of situations. But like you said, he's out of the mix. He was out of the mix in Cleveland, but he's such a professional, about it. And one thing that I noticed already about him and everything I've read and listened to his comments is, he knew already the organization. He knew Pat Riley. He knew Spolstra very well as well. He knows a bunch of the players, as we know. He's got a relationship, as most teams now or most players do around the NBA have relationships as well. He knew Andy Ellisberg as well. So again, he knows, he knew the organization. And he wanted to be here. That's super important. He knows what this organization is about. He knows about the championship. He's already spoken about how Miami has maintained an incredible level for so many years in a row. And that's so difficult to do in any sport, and obviously in the NBA as well. So I think that he fits in certain ways. Again, this is not. I think that also people underestimate how he is going to be able to help others rather than numbers that he may put up. I think that what he will do in the pick and roll, what he's going to be doing, in terms of passing the ball, helping other guys, spreading the court, the stretch four, perfect for him. So I think that more than what he's going to bring himself in terms of points and rebounds to the team is how he's going to facilitate things for other players that maybe are not going to show up in the stats, for him personally, but will for the team in terms of wins.
I also think it gives the team a little bit of a jolt in the locker room. He's always seemed to be a really popular guy among his teammates.
Oh, yeah.
Good attitude, good locker room guy. And sometimes for a team that, now granted, the Heat have been playing better basketball over the last month and a half. I mean, really disappointing loss in Brooklyn, which was an important loss because they could have pulled within a half game at the time of them. But sometimes you feel like you're a little bit stuck in mud. And I think maybe you get a little bit of a jolt with this kind of player.
Oh, absolutely. Not only him, but with Zeller as well. I mean, that combination. And again, I'm not trying to blow smoke to anybody. We understand what this is. These are subtle moves that improved you. Okay. And you were improved. And then you look at where you are right now. You look at, you're a team that has, record 10 undrafted players. And at one point, and several times, even in that Brooklyn game, you were playing 5 undrafted players, including one player that's been in the league for 4 games. And you look at the record and you go, wow, because, Spoelstra works miracles and how they've been able to develop. But there's a point where you have to say, well, we need a little bit something better and a little bit more improvement in certain areas. And I think that this has been the case. And I'm very excited. You want something, everybody wants a little bit of hope. Everybody wants a little bit of, how can we improve? And again, with 23 games left, this fight to the finish is going to be ferocious. And then this week and these couple of weeks coming up, I mean, you look at the schedule, guys are in front of you. Philadelphia twice, Milwaukee not coming up on Friday, Atlanta twice, Cleveland twice, the Knicks again twice in this month, or 3 times. So I mean, so it's brutal. I mean, it's really, really crucial. Now, how are they going to be able to incorporate? I'm just thinking of how Spo has been in the last couple of days already, with his assistant coaches and just going over schemes and how to use these players and when to use these players. Because again, you don't have much time. This is not training camp. This is not, October, November. You have 23 games left. And again, I think that your goal has to be to finish 4, 5, or 6.
What's impressed you most about Bam this year? He's been so good.
He's such a great person on and off the court. For me, his consistency. I mean, you think about it. That's something else. I'm like, I can't even imagine not having him on the court for the Heat. I mean, he has been the most consistent player for the Heat this year. And obviously, that mid-range shot, as we see now, that he is like leading one of the top guys in the league, points in the paint. He's there with Giannis in terms of who's scoring more points, him or Giannis in the paint in the entire league. Very happy for him to have been selected to the All-Star game. Very well deserved. And it's just such a wonderful person, as you well know, off the court as well. His relationship with his mom and always saying hi, always being gracious to everybody that comes by. But again, his consistency has been, to me, the best thing. And obviously, as we know, that the mid-range shot, he's almost automatic now, which when they do that drop defense on him, he just goes and feasts on them.
Do we expect Yurtsevin is going to be ready sometime soon?
Yeah, I think he is, but again, you know, he is going to be. I think he's going to be ready coming out of this break. I think we'll find out more the next couple of days. From practice. But again, that might be a case where he needs some time in the G League to get himself in real condition. Because with Zeller coming in and with Love as well, sometimes there's not going to be enough time for everybody at this point. And all these guys now are also insurance policies for the Heat. Again, he hasn't played a game this year, but neither has Zeller. Zeller hasn't played since January of 2022. There's been over a year that he hasn't played, but according to sources, and I heard Ira mention this or read it in Ira Winterman's column that scouts said that he is ready, that he was very ready right now to start and to play in a game. But I'm not sure that's the case for Yurtsevin. But again, he will be ready, I think, and health is important for the team. We've seen the last few games, 6-7 games now without Lowry. Same thing with Oladipo, missing the last couple of games without Hero, and very difficult to win games that way in this league with so much talent. So hopefully things will get together. 23 games left, and let's hit it hard.
I'm not even going to ask you about Lowry because talking about him makes me angry. Victor Oladipo, though, do we think is he going to be ready to go when we get back? Because at this point, he's been out for several weeks.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything contrary to that. So, hopefully, that is the case. And I think that we'll have things will be a lot clearer for us, after, Thursday's
Tomorrow,
practice.
Yeah.
Obviously, so that'll be a telling things. And I think that we'll have a lot more explanation. I think we'll get also a little bit more clarity from Spo and how he's thinking, which is really interesting because, this is something I was thinking about yesterday and today, at what point did the Heat know they were getting these two players, How do you know that wasn't, somebody else and all these other players that were out there and rumors that, players that were let go by other teams, obviously, that were free agents, that were buyouts. So suddenly in the last 24, 48 hours, Spo has to switch, and say, okay, I got these two guys, and how do I incorporate these two guys with what I have with the rest of the, to finish the season out?
I'll bet they knew pretty early in the process. I feel like they probably knew.
It's possible, it's possible, but it's interesting though. At what point did you know? Yeah. And how close were you or not? And you have to talk to agents. Are they going to come? Are they not? You have other teams. Some teams, other teams. They don't even fit in other teams, but they want to get them so that you don't get them. Especially you got teams in your same conference as Philly or Milwaukee.
Did you watch much of the All-Star weekend? Did you watch much of the festivities?
I did. I for several reasons. I did.
I hope you had good reasons to watch. Let me hear it.
Good reason. It was a good reason. Believe me, why I was watching a lot of TV over the weekend. But I did. I enjoyed some of it. I didn't know that the All-Star game. I used to do. I broadcast. I remember I was there 30 years ago for that last one in Utah. I did 15 in my earlier years. I did 15 NBA or 12 or around 12 NBA All-Star games.
That one in Utah was an amazing night for the Heat, the one that 30 years ago.
Yeah. I remember Harold Miner, and I remember all that stuff. I remember that perfectly. I remember that's the first time and only time I've ever seen heard thunder and seen lightning in a snowstorm.
Wow.
In Salt Lake City, Utah. It was I'd never seen that before. Lightning in a snowstorm. Well, sure it was. And it was so much more competitive, in those days. But it's another world now. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to yell at the clouds. But
you leave that to me. I'm the old man now yelling at the clouds.
I mean, the rest situation is something else. Obviously, it's a huge factor. I saw the press conference with the commissioner, and that's keeps coming up. And at one point it becomes pride, right? It becomes professionalism and pride. Listen, I've had not to tout myself, not to pat myself on the back, but I've never missed a game on purpose, or actually I've never missed a game in 35 years or 34 years of broadcasting through a lot of situations. Obviously, a little bit of luck, but Have I been sick as a dog
Hey, you
sometimes?
got pride. You
Absolutely.
got professional pride.
Have I felt terrible? Absolutely. But but I was there. But again, I'm not. I don't want to get too much into that. But there has to do something with that pride. You
Yep.
see. But anyway, I did see it. I thought that this McClung kid was incredible. We'll see him, in the next few days in Philadelphia. For 6'2", his hops is incredible. The 3-point shot was a little, eh, and the All Star game was as well. So, and again, um, it is what it is.
What's most interesting to you? All the trades, the big trades that took place at the deadline. I mean, the Western Conference was obviously shaken up. What's most interesting to you out there?
Well, when you have the snowball effect, once Kyrie says I'm out, I want to trade, and oh my goodness, and that starts the whole avalanche. But Phoenix has to be, the most interesting of them all, and on one side, and then on the other is, can the Lakers, you know, get even into the, the elimination round, you know?
I've never seen a team that's 13th place out of 15 that's talked about
Right.
more.
Exactly. Well, that's the point. And because it is LeBron and he did break the record, which is an incredible feat, and incredible accomplishment. So I think those two, I'm not sure that Dallas is going to do that great now
I don't
with
think so either.
Doncic, and I'm not sure about him. They gave up so much,
Well, and
and they
here's the
had
thing. Here's the thing for me, Jose, with what Dallas did. Dallas essentially chose, instead of giving Jalen Brunson money and keeping Dinwiddie and
correct.
keeping Finney Smith and keeping a first round pick, they chose Kyrie Irving. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. No, and again, you just don't know what you get when you get Kyrie Irving. It's a Pandora's box at times, but he's one of the most exciting players. No, most talented player there is. There's no doubt about his talent wise. Now, how's it going to mix with everything else? And I just think that Dallas is interesting, but Phoenix, how's Phoenix? And Phoenix gave up a ton as well. And things don't always work out on paper that you think is going to work out that way on paper. And especially like I said, with 23, 24, whenever games are left for these teams, you're starting from scratch, and you talk about that chemistry and how important that chemistry is. And that's going to be interesting, and with Kevin Durant, he needs the ball, he needs to shoot. Booker's going to want his shots, and Aiton's going to want his shots as well. So, how is that going to work out? So I think that obviously, I believe that, Vegas has them now as the favorite in the West, right? So, you have to say that has to be the most interesting situation. And then there's the other teams on the East that I think that just plugged in little by little to help out. Whether it's Boston, I think Milwaukee is the most loaded team. I think Milwaukee has the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, me too.
What they have, like Middleton's not even playing. Middleton is playing like 20 minutes a game, like max.
He showed up against us out of nowhere.
Season high, still to today. Season high, 24 points. So, but he's like a point a minute. Justin Holiday, obviously 9 years apart. Selected to the All-Star game. He's one of an incredible two-way player. Giannis is Giannis now. This wrist injury now could be interesting. Although it looks like it's nothing too serious, but he's apparently going to miss our game on Friday, obviously. But they're a little at the Crowder, and Portis isn't even playing yet. He's been out 12 games. They're 11 games. They're 12-0. They're 12-0 the last 12 games. 11-8-0 at home. So the depth that the Milwaukee Bucks have, and just getting Crowder and little moves here and there. I think they've done great as well. They're going to be, I think, the team to beat in the East if everybody's healthy.
Lastly, here for La Voz, Jose Paneda, what the hell happened in Atlanta? I don't even know what to make of that, because Nate McMillan now has been fired in two weird spots. I thought it was unfair the way he got fired in Indiana, and now he gets fired in the middle of the season here in Atlanta. But then the other side of it is, the Hawks now, what is it, 2 of the last 3 years have fired a coach in the middle of the season, and Trae Young's now kind of developing a label as a difficult player to coach. But what do you make of what happened there?
You need to add one other thing. The general manager was also fired this year.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's a general manager and 2 head coaches in within what, a year and a half, 2 years. That's and I don't know what's the common thread here. You said it. I don't know. I'm not in that locker room,
Yeah.
but there has to be something going on there. That 2 coaches that were well liked, that were well respected around the league. I mean, Nate's been respected everywhere. And, he's one of the most serious guys there is in the NBA. Also very, very, very meticulous, work ethic, the whole thing. He was an Olympic coach, assistant coach as well, 12-year veteran, defensive-minded guy, been around a long, long time, so I liked him. Lloyd Pierce as well, and he's gone, and then their GM's gone as well, removed, who used to work for the Heat, by the way, and the Golden State Warriors. So, that's really an interesting situation there.
Jose, excellent job. Really good catching up with you. The season gets going again on Friday night against Milwaukee. Really good having you on the program again. We'll do it again soon. Maybe once the playoffs starts, when things get real serious.
When we're in 4th, 5th, or 6th place.
Yes. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
All
Great
right,
job,
bud.
Jose. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.